Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Ivan Tamba, and I am the founder of the Okra Network, your one-stop platform connecting you to organizations in Africa looking to improve African communities. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Concy. She is the program coordinator for Women Relief Aid.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, guys. I'm a program coordinator, Women Relief Aid. Women Relief Aid was established in 2017 with the aim of reaching out to women and young girls in South Sudan. As we know, this is a country that is highly affected with war, and to a greater extent, the women and girls, they are always the most affected people. So Women Relief Organization is coming to support them, coming to their rescue so that they're also brought on board and sent to the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you. Women's Relief Aid, what are your main functions? What are your duties? And how do you help your community?
Well, we have so many programs and so many activities we do to help support the community. As I earlier on mentioned, we target majorly women and young girls, though we also don't forget the male gender, yeah. But to a greater extent, we reach out to the women and young girls. So what we do to help the community, we make sure in South Sudan, in the states where our projects are running, in livelihood and skills to support themselves, we also encourage them in peace building and conflict resolution. As you all know, the background of South Sudan, so peace building so that we live in a peaceful community. We also encourage the young girls and the younger generation sees that the future of the country in education. So we reach out to secondary schools, primary schools, development future programs of the country because we believe in them that they are the next people who are going to come up after us. We also encourage the community through the trainings, through other reach outs, through mentorship in environmental protection. This is one of the current issues on ground as one of the goals in the SDGs. We don't want to leave it out. Women and young girls too can perform roles in encouraging and promoting environmental protection. Deep down at the grassroots level, we believe they can do better. We also do health outreaches to village health centers in rural areas because they're really needy communities, you see. So we reach out to the needy health centers. We provide maternal health, we provide HIV testing and counseling. We also distribute drugs, especially maybe to people, to children in the needy and rural health centers. And also to add on, we also do research and advocacy because if you don't carry out research to the community you're serving, you are not able to know what really they need. We may see from the outside world that this is what they need, but we need to get deep to the community. Carry out research with them. We understand their problem. We feel with them. We journey with them in their problems. We feel with them the pain they're going through, and we advocate for them. Actually, we want to be the voice for the voiceless in the rural communities of South Sudan, especially the women, young girls, and teenage mothers. Thank you.
I really do appreciate your statement about working directly with the community, because if you don't know the community's needs, you're working for your own interest at the end of the day. In terms of the community, what are some of the foundational needs that you find each community needs?
Well, some of the highly needed things you have found with the communities, one of them is about health and sanitation. You find that in most of these places where we go to, people are still very green about promoting good health and sanitation. So we find that this is highly needed, and we have trained volunteers to reach out to the people to appreciate the benefits of living in a healthy environment, encouraging sanitation in schools, in health centers, in marketplaces, places where these communities gather. We need to encourage health, hygiene, and good sanitation. And another thing that is maybe also we have seen as so needy is education. You know, most time in Africa, people have always had that negative perception. Though NGOs are coming to really build up the and have lived education in Uganda, but South Sudan in particular, we still feel that challenge. So women relief aid has come in that gap to also see the need to educate the young people, the need to educate the future generation of this country. So you find that we really want to fill in that gap of education, and also looking at the aspect of agriculture. We also feel since this they have very little things to put in the stomach. Kids are really dying and malnutrition is so high. So we are encouraging this population in the community to come up and appreciate agriculture so that we have improved food production, food availability, food security, and at the end of it all, we see that there is improved nutrition. Yeah, those are three key areas of need that we really feel we need to help and come in the gap to help the community where we are serving them.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed that you mentioned the organization began in 2017. So
Yes.
since then, and I know you mentioned that you guys do sort of your own research. Since 2017, how impactful has your organization been for the community?
2017, I'm really happy to communicate to the whole world that Women Relief Aid is really doing great things. The findings, how people are feeling the impacts of Women Relief Aid, the activities they do with the community. We have been able to train the women and young girls, and they've really managed to establish successful micro enterprises whereby we are seeing women coming up together, establishing these enterprises, and you find they're able to have their savings, they're able to support themselves, and really some of the men are really appreciating what Women Relief Aid is doing, because some of these women never had even the idea, because they thought everything should come from the man. But we want to tell them that no, do not leave this responsibility to the men only. Women can also do this. So through these trainings in livelihoods and entrepreneurship, they have been able to do that. We also see that 80% of the people, like the youth, have been able to be in this transition into self on employment. You know, the mindset of like maybe after school, after dropping out, that is the end of it all. You don't have anything maybe to do. Your mind is stuck. So through the activities Women Relief Aid has done, the percentage, like on our research, 80% of the youth, we have trained them. They have not let us down. I'm really happy for that. Owning their self-owned enterprises. And also you find that with the increased training, we have been able to, like in the health centers, palliative care services for the children. Really, really, I'm so grateful. The communities that we have reached, they have really appreciated. And we find that some of these health centers have been able to provide the palliative care services for our children and the teenagers. So it's really so supportive to them. And we find that at the grassroots levels also, the women are really coming up to appreciate their involvement in peace building, you see. So because most times they feel these things are for men, the men are the ones who are supposed to sit there, make decisions in everything, decide for what the community should do. We say no, women, you need to come up, your voice matters. The children too needs to be heard. So they really come up, and we're seeing at village level, they're really appreciating coming up in groups, coming up in communities, like even in church groups, in market groups, all these small community groups. They've been able to advocate for a peaceful resolutions of things, maybe between communities, between tribes. You see, the tribal
Mm-hmm.
conflicts, the inter-community conflicts, they've been able to solve some of these minor things, you see. So those are some of the great achievements we are doing, and Women Relief Aid, it's really doing great, and we appreciate that. With time, yeah, we are going to have it greater.
I love it. I love it. Excuse my ignorance when it comes to South Sudan. How do, let's say, men receive the support that's been given to women, and how are they receiving women's uplifting?
At first, I was really impressed when I went to one of the communities where programs are being implemented, that is in Eastern Equatoria State. when I was interviewing some of the men, because we selected them, we also asked them such questions that we are trying to uplift these women. How do you men feel about it? Because most time you say men needs to be about. So it was like, as for me, that is one of the men. He said, as for me, I don't see any problem at all. Actually, we are getting relieved from some of the burdens because women think everything should be on us. So out of his expression, I really felt that, yeah, women relief organization with relief aid is really doing great work because he appreciated men in education, in peace building, in health. They're finding it so challenging because they feel as if this thing is going to make women maybe not to respect them, maybe not to do their household activities, the outdoors. But we're telling them the fact that we are training these women misunderstand. We want the cultural aspect to be there. The women need to respect their husband. The women need to perform the housework that they're meant to be. But if it is a shared responsibilities, things becomes easier. You see that? So it's still a divided population because to a lesser extent men are appreciating the initiatives we are putting in, but also you find that there's certain group of people that are really finding it so challenging that these women will at one point come to challenge them. But you're saying no, a shared responsibility makes work easier and communities developed.
Yes, yes. I mean that is in general what we believe here too. We believe that if we can divide the work, we'll accomplish so much more. How do you tackle that problem? How do you address it with the men?
Yeah, you're really right with that question because, as I mentioned at the beginning, much as women relief hate has come in to bridge the gap, bringing women on board, bringing the girl child, and we are not leaving the main gender. I think I was really very clear. So to make the men really feel they're not left out, one, if we are like giving this, especially in the health sector, you find that most of our things goes to maternal health care. And if you see maternal health care, this is something that both the man and the woman needs to be together. So we encourage the women to let the men know, or the husbands know, they are benefiting from this program under this organization, and these are the things they need to know, these are things they need to do as a man. And also, if we come to the community women groups, we tell these women to really seek the conscience of their husbands or their seniors at home, because we don't want you to come in, we train you, you have the knowledge, you go back home challenging your man, and he will be wondering where you have gotten all these things from. Because we are also fight we are also seeing at conflict resolution. So if we want to resolve conflicts, we don't want to cause more conflict, you see. So we
Yeah.
really need these women to seek the conscience of their husbands. And also, if you come to the leadership aspect, much as they are women's group, we encourage them at least maybe 80% to be women, you see, and maybe the 20% we leave that gap for the men to also come in and see how women do their things in their groups. If women are given the chance, how do they perform? We want the men to feel that, yeah, our women can really do it. So 80% is women led, and the 20% we give to our, I could say, to our Adams,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
also come in, to also come in and feel they're also not left out.
Now I know
Yeah.
you mentioned mainly the concern is with married couples, right? So now I have a big question for you. What if a young girl is growing up and she has all these aspirations and she has all this confidence to uphold herself? Let's say the relationship between a young man, does she still is there any conflict there?
Okay, I think I get your point there. Because the fact that we deal with women and teenage girls and young girls, yeah, I think that's the point you're driving. So, one thing we see we need to develop in these young girls is high self-esteem.
Mhm.
So, if you're really developing the high self-esteem in these young girls, so that they're able to stand, to speak for themselves, say what is wrong, maybe what they're going through, advocate for themselves. So to make sure these young girls do not see they're so superior, maybe since they're being advocated for, they have to underlook the boy child. No, 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 we don't want that, because we want a future community where the boy child embraces the girl child and the girl child too embraces the boy child. So when you come at the aspect of education, because we are also promoting education, we go to schools and tell them that whether you're a girl or you're a boy, you need to achieve a goal. And that goal doesn't mean this is set for a girl, this is set for a boy. If it is subjects to be done at school, both the boy child and the girl child, you all need to work out, to work out, I mean. So building the self-esteem in young girls doesn't guarantee them to have superiority over the boy child, because the boy child too matters. You see,
Mhm.
because we cannot build good or maybe high self-esteem girl child. What if someone gets up in the future and marries a very low self-esteem husband? Will that be a balanced community? So we really encourage that the relationship of both the boy child and the girl child moving at the same pace, in the same direction, at the same speed, in the same direction, with a common goal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Very
yeah,
candid. So on one end, you're working with predominantly girls within the community, and then the other end, you're still working with the young men in the community as well. Do
yeah,
you see any particular developments with the boys that is very different than the girls? And let me elaborate on that.
yeah,
So in America, we understand for the most part where a lot of women need to be uplifted, right?
mm,
We need to encourage them to be in more senior level roles. We need to encourage them to have a seat at the table. So
yeah,
for the men, we already know that the men are at the table for the most part. Okay. Now,
yeah,
when that happens, sometimes the efforts leave the men behind, and it leaves a lot of the men with a lot of discouraging comments, or they feel less about themselves because they don't have a
yeah.
seat at the table. So in the communities that you're with, you encounter those things.
Yeah, I really feel the way you're talking. The boy child too is really, we are really feeling and experiencing these things on ground. You see, the world is really changing, and I think South Sudan will also have to move with the whole world. That's why we really get back to the grassroots. So some of the things these boys, whenever we go to the community, just the name of the organization discourages them, you see. So it's a this organization is coming to meet this and this a group, just the name women, you see, they
Mhm,
really have that already, the mindset is already negative about, like, sincerely this is an organization that has come only for the women or for the female gender. So one thing, they really feel already neglected, you
mhm,
see, and they feel like, what if we also have the men, what men relief, you see. But but we always tell them, "Mm-mm, not the name of the organization, but what we do is what matters, you see,
mhm,
because we want to produce empowered women with empowered men. So we can't neglect you. So that is one thing, they really feel neglected. And in more other things, most of the communities here, they do not see values in the boy child. If I talk of values, maybe in the cultural way, they feel if they maybe have more time with a girl child, they see values. They see, if a girl is walking, they see cows already walking. If they see a girl, they already see ready-made money already walking. So those are some of the values that the people here do not see in the boy child. So after all, even if you grow up, you're going to maybe have headache. You're just going to give me headache. But seeing a value in the girl child already the boy child feels, I think I'm not valued. You see,
Mm.
that feeling of being neglected, you're not valued, really makes them so inferior. But then one thing I've liked also about them, they're so quick at picking things. Some of these things we go to train maybe the women, much as we involve 20% of the men, they're really so fast in picking things. And you find that these are the men or the boy child who are helping these girls or these teenagers or these women to really pick some of these things so quickly. You see, now I really feel if we were to completely neglect the male gender from our activities, I would really say, will we really have maybe somewhere we have reached? So that's why we say, much as it is women-led organization, we are not in any way leaving the male gender.
That leads me to my next question. If there's one thing that you need to be accomplished within your organization, what is that thing?
If I need one thing to really be accomplished in the organization, is really bridging the gap in the education sector of this country. That is one thing I've always been feeling day and night, because without education, the country cannot move. The future generation is at doom. So that is one main thing that keeps in my heart day and night, that really we need to bridge this gap. If you see education running in the rural communities and you compare it with the education running in the urban centers, there is really a very big gap. And if you also compare maybe with our neighbor like Uganda, like Kenya, Rwanda, you really feel there's that real gap. So one thing that I really want this organization to accomplish is to bridge that gap in the education sector.
Okay, so you've introduced us a lot about Women's Relief Aid. Now, could you tell me a little bit about yourself? What got you involved with Women's Relief Aid?
I came to get involved with Women Relief Aid. You know, the media has made things so simple that you you really get to know things happening in different parts of the world. So at one point when I came to read about the Women Relief of Aid as an organization dealing in those areas, I really feel so touched with what they were doing, because as a girl looking at my background, where I came from, I really not been, because of the effort, seeing me myself, I was in such a situation deep in the rural village from the eastern state. If you look at the map of South Sudan, that is one of, I think, the needy states in the country. So my background really pushed me to either work with either a volunteer, a private entity, or government entities, as long as I'm ready to fix that gap, as long as I'm ready to participate in the process of uplifting the status of the rural people in my country to the level we expect. And also looking at my passion to also be at one point, maybe to mentor the young generation, to be role models to the young generation, to work with the young generation. As I was also mentored, I was guided, I was worked with, I really also want to be in that state or in that position to help the young people know that there are greater goals to achieve, there are greater heights to climb. And thirdly, maybe reading at the background about women relief from the social media, I got so attracted that if I can only even start with volunteering with this organization, that would be my best offer for this country through this organization. So what they did, the mission, the vision, the objectives, the activities they do, they were really in line with my passion. I'm not lying. So it really motivated me. So those are some of the things that really motivated me to come so close with Women Relief Aid. Yeah.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
so I hear you're very passionate about your country. I personally, I want to know more about South Sudan. It's a place that I want to visit. You know, I have a lot of friends from there. If anybody were to visit South Sudan, where is somewhere that we must visit? Something that we have to see.
Oh, the beauty, everything about South Sudan, what I could say, one of the things you really need to see. Okay, maybe according to me, another person may bring it, may really bring it so differently. One of the things I want you really to come and explore the cultural beauty of South Sudan. You will really feel Africa is wow. So you, much as we see them so backward, but it's really so beautiful and it's really so enriching in promoting maybe human welfare, the community welfare. Actually, then the culture is really, really so welcoming and so enriching. And maybe other things you have to see the nature, of course. South Sudan is blessed with some of the beautiful scenes, the natural resources. Those are some of the few things we really come to appreciate in South Sudan. And also, of course, some of our great learning institutions,
Mhm.
much as the country is hemming higher and higher and higher. Yeah, you can also, since you're also a teacher by profession, so I would really also love you to visit some of the great learning institutions in our country. Yeah.
I look forward to it. When you're not working, what do you do in your free time?
What I really do in my free time, I believe in all-round useful citizen of the country. So when sometimes I'm out of work, I do my personal or side work, like I do my side baking business because I was trained in that area. Those are some of the skills I have. So I have my side hustling that I do, the side baking business where I supply maybe the learning stations, of course, parties, people make orders. So I make those simple bakeries, then I supply them to the schools. I also make, of course, drinks, the local juice around. They may sound simple, but those are the things I spend my leisure time or outside work, I do them. Then I also practice horticulture because I have a background of agriculture. I also do my backyard horticulture farming. It's really it's really so enriching because much as the country experience maybe sometimes long droughts, but backyard horticulture farming does not need a lot of things. I get my broken plastics. Actually, that is one of the things saving the environment. You don't need to pollute the environment. So I use some of the things to do my backyard horticulture farming. So those are the three main things I do outside working with the organization.
Okay. All right. So you are human. You you do a lot of things and you seem like a superhuman. So it is nice that you like to bake and spend your leisure time. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Last question. Okay. Or
Question.
last personal question.
All right.
Okay. I feel like we all love music, right? Who
Yeah.
are some artists in South Sudan that you listen to or that you would like us to listen to?
One of them I would recommend Silver X.
Okay.
Unfortunately, one passed on last year, this year, the beginning of this year. May his soul rest in peace. So Silver X is one of the artists I would recommend you with.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that is one of the artists I would recommend.
There.
More when you come to this country, you will you will enjoy more. I believe so.
I believe it too. I definitely do. All right. Well, do you have any questions for
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. You have an African background, I believe that.
Yes.
So, if you were made to make a wish for Africa, one of the best wish you could make for Africa, and with not don't mind about the sector, okay? Just
Hmm.
one best wish for Africa. What would your wish for Africa be?
Whoa. It's a big question. Forgiveness. Here's why. A,
Mm.
a lot of our tribal conflict begins because we cannot look at our brothers and our sisters and say, "I'm sorry." If I have a conflict with my neighbor and I'm able to go to my neighbor and talk things out and forgive my neighbor probably has a better chance of accepting that forgiveness. And then his children, right? His children will then look at me and they may respect or appreciate my ability to go talk to his family, right? And then each generation will look at me and look at my family as less of a threat, and I believe it begins with forgiveness. There's a lot of tribal conflict in Africa, and a lot of it's useless. Yeah. Oh, that's there's so many different things that come in my head, but I like the forgiveness one because the forgiveness, it even starts with your own family.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah, forgiveness.
I think that is that. No, it has really generally answered my question, that your one wish, because the way you have explained it has really, really, really opened up to so many things, shooting many things with one stone. So the aspect of forgiveness, that is one of the things Women Relief Aid is fighting for. If only Africans would embrace the power of forgiveness, yeah, I believe, according to your explanation, we would really be somewhere great. Thank you for that.
Oh no, thank you for the question. It was a good question. I ask a lot of questions to people, and so that was a very good question. I liked it. You guys do a great job. I've been watching. I'm very hopeful in the direction that you guys are going, and we'll definitely keep in touch about different projects and how we can join you guys on some projects. That's the goal.
Sure. We hope one day to come.
Yes, hopefully sooner than later. All right. Well, Concy, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your words. By the way, how can people get hold of you?
Yeah, I think the best way is through my email and my Twitter and account. So those are the two major things. Yeah.
All right.
I will share with you on WhatsApp. You already have my email, so I'm going to give you my Twitter handle. Those are the two best platforms I can easily get reached.
All right, so I'll share that information. Thank you for joining me. Much appreciated your words. And as always, for the audience, don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to our platforms. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Together, we can accomplish anything. I'm Ivan Tamba with the Okra Network, and thank you for listening. See you next time.